Hey everybody, it's Miss Levy here. So we're going to continue with our home woodworking activities, and today I'm just going to give you a really simple one. If you are a parent with a child who's probably 8 or under, they're really going to love this one. It's really just about keeping us in the rhythm of doing things with our hands and getting that muscle memory active for when we do get back to the shop, or if we do want to learn how to use a saw eventually at home or in a makerspace at school or wherever we might be working. So all you need today is cardboard, scissors, utility knife is optional, and that's for parents to use, of course, and some tape and a workspace. If you want, you can use paper. I know that cutting cardboard can be a little tricky for the little ones, so if you want them to do the cutting, you can have them cut it out on paper and then paste it down to cardboard, and that should do just the same in terms of getting this lesson done. It's really about imagination, and it's about getting our bodies in the work mindset and thinking about design and being creative with what we can do at home. So here we go. I'm just going to move you over. I'm working in my workspace at home, but you do not have to be working at a workbench. You could be working at your kitchen table. You could really be working anywhere that works for you, at a desk in your bedroom. So basically I just cut a piece of cardboard off of the side of a box. This is probably about, I don't know, we can measure since I have a tape measure here. It's 23 inches long, and it's probably like 7.5 inches wide. And I would say don't go any shorter than 10 inches and don't go any less wide than maybe 5 inches. So the idea is that we just draw a saw onto our cardboard. You can see that I do have a cross-cut style saw drawn and cut out right here, but you can get crazy with this. You can make as many teeth of the saw as you want. You can make different styles of handles. A lot of times at the shop that I work at school, we use coping saws with the little ones. So, you know, if you wanted, you could draw a coping saw. It's got a handle right here. Right, we have our blade. It's got tiny little teeth, tiny little blade. And we have a frame that goes around. Right, and then there's usually like pins that hold the blade in place. I suggest that whatever kind of saw you do, you have a handle. Either you can have the handle have a cutout like this one, or with a coping saw, the style of handle is such that you would put your hand around that. And then you obviously have a blade, and you can choose whatever frame style you want. With the coping saw, it's going to be a little more challenging because you're going to have to kind of cut out this whole center area, or you can just choose to not cut that out and you can just kind of cut out the frame, and then that's going to be easier to cut this style handle than it was to cut this style handle because I used a utility knife for that. So parents, if you're not too familiar with utility knife use, then don't do it. Utility knives can be pretty sharp, and if you are going to use them and are going to take that plunge but don't use them very often, just a reminder that you wouldn't want to have your thumb in front of where you're cutting. You always want your hand to the side, and when you're cutting, you don't want your work really close to your body. You want it a little further away. But the kids should be able to do most of the cutting with a good pair of heavy-duty scissors. You might have like the Fiskars ones with orange handles. Those work just fine. So get crazy and inventive with your saw shape. You can make it really simple too if you're not too into cutting cardboard. And then our lesson for today is really going to be about power stance. So let me see if I can. I'm going to set you up right here. Sorry guys, give me a sec. Come on. Okay, that's good enough. So I know there's a little bit of a thing in front of the camera. but you kind of need to see more of my body for this one. So you are going to want to be, when you're in your power stance, if you are a lefty, let's start with lefties because they rock, you are going to want to have your right foot back and your left foot back and your right foot forward, right? So, and you want your hips square to whatever table you're working at. So putting your left foot back, if you're holding the saw in your left hand, means that you're giving your sawing arm more room to do work. And then it's really important not to turn away from your work. You want your hips to be square to the table, okay? And then you can put another hand on top if you need to, right? And basically today we're just gonna pretend to saw. And then your power stance, I call it the power stance. A lot of people just call it sawing technique or good sawing form. But it's really important to learn, especially at a younger age. If you're a righty, you're gonna put your right foot back, your left foot forward. You're gonna put both hands on the saw if you want, and then you're gonna saw this way with your hips square to the table. You wanna be pulling right back toward your belly button too. That's the other thing I tell kids. You don't wanna be standing kind of over here, or turning your body away. So it's really important to get into those habits to start. And I am just gonna show you one more tip for something you can put on your table. So you can just take like any kind of tape. Where does this start and end? Okay, so you can take any kind of tape and then you can just pull off a thin piece, or you can use a thicker piece to start, especially if you're working with younger kids. But you can pull off a thin piece and then you can put this on your table. And this is just, if you want to get fancy with it, you could take a square and you could line up a square to make sure that it's perpendicular to the table's edge. But it doesn't really matter. This is really just to give us a guide. So I'm going to get in my power stance and then I'm going to try to saw along that imaginary line. Your saw can touch the table. It's kind of tricky, right? Your saw can touch the table. You can see my tape is peeling up, so I'm just gonna press that down even more. Right? And your saw can be in the air. Either way. The key is to share with your kiddo that you don't want your saw to tip either direction, and you don't want your saw to tip back and forth toward you. So this takes years for us to learn and shop at school, and is really good to, I know this activity seems really kind of overly simplified, but this is a really good one, even if it just takes 10 minutes and then your child is like, I'm over this, really good one to do just to kind of remind us, the kids of those, and us too, of those shop habits that are so important to stay in the groove with. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know, and rock on with your power stances, everybody.